They are going even bigger than we thought. A brand new report written by Bleacher Report is predicting the Red Sox offseason doesn't only maintain one big name starting pitcher, but two. We'll break down all of the report and whether or not it is even likely the Red Sox can go out and acquire not only one big name starting pitcher, but really round out the entirety of this starting rotation with two big names this offseason. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, please do remember, scroll down and click that subscribe button to help us hit our goal of 10,000 subscribers. We do appreciate it. But now let's get to it and break down the wild predictions for the Boston Red Sox this offseason, and specifically in the starting pitching department. Yes, there has been a lot of conversations. Ketel Marte, as well as a bunch of other big names that are outside of the first base / third base position or the starting pitching market, but we know the biggest topics of conversation. The Red Sox are looking for a power bat, specifically a first baseman, and also another dominant starting pitcher to pair next to Garrett Crochet. Now, will they only go out and get one? Up to this point in the offseason, that has really just been the topic of conversation and really the point of conversation. It's one big name guy that they can plug in as the number two in the starting rotation to pair next to Crochet and Bello and the other great young pieces they have. But now, based off this report from Bleacher Report, where they are predicting every team's starting rotation once the MLB season officially starts, it seems like the Red Sox may go out and acquire more than just one big name pitcher. Now, we've broken down one of these names in the past, in Mackenzie Gore, so we'll get to the new name first, and that is Dylan Cease. He is a free agent this year. He is not someone that needs to be traded for this offseason, and is without a doubt the best pitcher on the free agent market this offseason. He is a good pitcher, without a doubt, and now that he is a free agent, you wouldn't have to trade any assets to go out and acquire him, unlike a lot of the other names that have been in connections to the Red Sox. Hunter Green, Mackenzie Gore, Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, the list goes on and on. Even Tarek Skubal, obviously. If you look at Cease's underlying metrics from this past season, it wasn't his best season by any means, but he did have a pretty good year. The ERA really doesn't show how dominant he was on the mound. The swing and miss stuff is ridiculous. Despite only throwing, yes, it says he has a 5-6 pitch mix here, he really relies on two pitches, and that's the fastball and the slider. And if you watch him pitch, you understand why. He has really, really good fastball velocity, which does fit Craig Breslow's model from the information we know, as well as a wipeout slider that covers a lot of ground, breaking horizontally. It's a lot of fun to watch. The only problem is, I don't know if this is the guy for Boston. Would he fit into the Red Sox organization? Would he be good in a Red Sox jersey? I won't argue he won't, without a doubt. Dylan Cease, despite having a 4 ERA this past year, was a lot better than the numbers suggest. If he was plugged into Boston, where he was going to get a lot of run support every time he stepped on the bump, I would assume he's going to be more successful than he's not. But out of the other options that seem to be available, at the price tag that Dylan Cease may require, I don't know if the Boston Red Sox go in this direction with other big name teams like the Mets, like the Rangers, like the Houston Astros, and others that are going to be on Dylan Cease's radar. I don't know, as well as teams like the Cubs and even others. I don't know if they go out there and make a decision and go out there and offer him a deal that is going to pull him to Boston in comparison to these other teams that are going to go after him. Would he fit into Boston? Absolutely. I'm not going to say he won't. He's a dominant pitcher. The majority of the time he is on the mound, he has a legitimate pitch mix that he can rely on outside of that high fastball velo and the wipeout slider. If you look at the whiff rates, the top of the league, he creates a lot of swing and miss. And if you watch him pitch, it's no surprise. But if you look at some of the things he doesn't do well, he walks a lot of guys. He doesn't give up a lot of ground balls. Everything is hit normally pretty damn hard. He gives up a decent amount of barrels, right under league average. The hard hit rate just above, and I mean just above league average, as well as the average exit velocity. Dylan Cease is not a ground ball guy. He's either going to create swing and miss, or he's probably going to give up a barrel. Now, every time you give up a barrel doesn't mean you're giving up runs, but playing in Fenway, players able to pepper off the monster, it could result in hard hit singles, doubles, off the wall. it's an interesting situation. I would rather the Red Sox go out there and make a blockbuster trade and acquire someone like a Hunter Green or a Freddie Peralta or even someone like a Joe Ryan, who we all know the connection to the Boston Red Sox. To quickly wrap up the Dylan Cease conversation with the money side of things, this again from Spotrac. We cite them every time we talk about a free agent or anyone this offseason because we have to have an idea of what the Boston Red Sox, or really anyone for that matter who's trying to acquire these players, is going to have to spend, or is going to have to be willing to at least hit this bottom line in order to go out and acquire these players, as they're not going to be the only teams and organizations trying to acquire these guys, as they are big marquee names not only on the free agent market but obviously on the trade market. For this topic of the conversation with Cease, it's obviously going to be a free agent, so there wouldn't require a trade, just a contract to sign him, which is a benefit in comparison to guys like Skubal and others that we mentioned earlier, that you would have to not only give up assets to acquire, but then in order to keep them in your organization, you would have to then extend them out, everyone outside of Joe Ryan and Hunter Green. But if you look at the comparable players for Dylan Cease, Corbin Burns, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried, Tyler Glasnow, these guys got paid handsomely, and they were well deserving. Are the Red Sox going to go out there and acquire someone like Dylan Cease, who is now, if you look at the age they're signing here, 30, 25, 30, Crochet, the one outlier in this situation. No surprise there, as he deserved every penny that he got. Cease is now 29 years of age, so just below some of the average guys here. The calculated market value, and I apologize, it's very small on my screen. 6 years, 177.1 million, so 177 million over 6 years for Dylan Cease seems like an appropriate price tag if you look at the comparison to some of the other pitchers in the league that have already been paid, and you look at the names he would be sitting around. It makes a lot of sense. Will the Boston Red Sox go out there and pay someone like Dylan Cease that amount of money? We will have to wait and see, as there are an ample amount of options on the table this year, not only via free agency, but again via the trade market, which seems a whole lot more likely. And the second name we're going to bring up is Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore is a trade candidate. He is not a free agent, but the Washington Nationals have made it abundantly clear that they are looking to kind of reset. And I don't mean they're going to entirely flip ship and give up CJ Abrams and guys like James Wood, but guys like Mackenzie Gore, who have been decent at times, have been good at times, but really haven't lived up to the expectations. Possibly look to reset them for maybe an outfielder like Willie Abreu or Jarren Duran, or possibly more prospects in order to really establish their team later down the line, as they don't look to win this up-and-coming season. Mackenzie Gore is interesting. He's another southpaw. He's pitching from the left-hand side of things, and he's pretty good. I know the underlying metrics are worse than what we saw in Dylan Cease, so if you're going off of that, he's the worst pitcher. But I'm here to make the argument that Mackenzie Gore, at only the age of 26, has a lot out in front of him. And if you look at the first half of last year in comparison to how the year ended, it is a tale of two different seasons, and it's really hard to argue against that. The first half of the year, Mackenzie Gore had the ball on a string, it felt like. The breaking ball was filthy. It was creating a lot of whiff. It was creating a lot of swing and miss and a lot of chase at that. And in doing so, he was able to really minimize the amount of runs he was giving up. And despite giving up some contact, it wasn't always a barrel. By the end of the year, Mackenzie Gore, it felt like, was just out of it. Every time he was on the mound, he was outmatched because the team he was playing for and pitching for wasn't going to give him a lick of run support, and he felt defeated. It looked like he was defeated. If he was plugged in to the Boston Red Sox organization at just the age of 26, think about this. He's 3 years younger than Dylan Cease. He has the ability to go out there and learn and grow around guys like Crochet, around Brayan Bello, Conley Early, and other young guys, Hunter Dobbins, who will return from that injury that he suffered last year early in that season against the Yankees. There are a few things here that Mackenzie Gore gets done. The breaking ball run value is way up there. I mentioned the curveball earlier, or the breaking ball. The curveball is absolutely filth. It's his second most thrown pitch next to his fastball, which is the one problem here. He does not have great fastball velo. He's actually way below league average in that, he's just above league average in that category. He's way below league average in average exit velocity. but it's that 93, 95 mile per hour fastball that doesn't fit Craig Breslow's model, which leaves me to believe I don't know if the Red Sox have to go out there and make a trade to acquire a pitcher. It's going to be Mackenzie Gore. If they go out there and acquire someone like Freddie Peralta and the asking price for Gore is way, way down and it's fully diminished, and they're able to steal him in a 1-for-1 trade for a prospect, I could see how the Red Sox would definitely do this to really amplify, and add a bit of depth to their starting rotation. But outside of that, I'm not sure if the Boston Red Sox would even take either of these guys. You have 2 more years of team control with Mackenzie Gore, again, only at the age of 26 right now. That would take him into his age 29 season before he'd become an unrestricted free agent. This would be a lot of fun if he was a part of this Red Sox team. We'd be able to watch him grow and really develop as a pitcher, and he could be very, very good in the sense of what we saw in the first half of last year could be duplicated, and he could possibly grow off of that and become one of the better left-handed pitchers in the entirety of the league. And no, I'm not saying he'll be Skubal or Skeens, because the setting the bar that high seems it's not real, and that is just Skubal has won back-to-back Cy Youngs. And if you want to compare him to Crochet's coming off a career year, and that's going to be a really hard comparison to make. If Gore is plugged into a good winning situation, I could see how things could change drastically, and with 2 more years of team control, it seems like one of the better options out there, unless you're going to move the assets to acquire a bit more assets, I should say, to go out there and acquire someone like a Freddie Peralta, a Hunter Green, or someone along the lines of a Joe Ryan, who does still have team control and is also going to have a hefty price tag because of the overall abilities he maintains. So again, to conclude this video, the starting rotation, the projected starting rotation for next year for the Boston Red Sox: Crochet at 1, Cease at 2, Gore at 3, Brayan Bello at 4, followed up by Conley Early at 5. I love that starting rotation. You have 3 left-handed pitchers that could all be very, very good. Early's very early in his career, but what we saw last year was not a fluke. He had a .68 whip in that elimination game. It was not on him. It fell back again on the defense in that elimination game. I don't want to hear the slander for Early in that for his performance. He was phenomenal basically every time he got on the bump, including his season debut where he struck out 11. I think we are in for a very good and long career for Conley Early. And if you could add another good dominant guy who's been in the league for a while, like a Dylan Cease or any of the other trade guys we mentioned, like Peralta and others, I think these guys could really grow, develop, and become even better than what we project now. Let me know down below. Would you do this if you were the Red Sox? Would you be accepting if the Red Sox did this? As a fan, would you think Cease and Mackenzie Gore both being added to this rotation would be what you needed to push the needle and get them to the World Series? I'll see you guys in the next episode of Red Sox Digest. Thank you guys for watching.